Back now on Newsmax Prime to talk about the sentencing of the Boston bomber, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, sentenced to death. This sentencing marks the first time since 9/11 that federal prosecutors have been able to get a death sentence penalty in a terrorism case. Let's get some reaction and bring in our panel. First, from Newsmax New York, our good friend radio and TV commentator Ellis Henican, and from Newsmax Washington, my old congressional colleague from Illinois, Michael Patrick Flanagan. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here on Newsmax Prime. Mike, first to you, your thoughts on this sentence.
It seems appropriate. He's a murderer, and he is contrary to the interests of this nation. Apart from the fact that he committed a capital crime, he committed it on American soil. The ultimate penalty is appropriate.
Ellis, there was some thought that if the death penalty was handed down, somehow Tsarnaev would become a martyr. Did you agree with that assessment?
No, he may. Listen, JD, this is troubling to me. I mean, I'm morally opposed to the death penalty. I'm a Christian, and I don't think Jesus wants us killing each other. I also am enough of a libertarian not to trust the state to do it, and I guess enough of a liberal to believe that, you know what, there is always a chance in the course of a lifetime to actually rehabilitate even the most evil and twisted people. So I have no reaction, frankly, other than sadness and a little bit of moral outrage about it.
Well, the whole notion, and some people said that life in prison would be punishment enough. Here's the concern I have, and God forbid anything like this would happen, but if he were kept alive, you can imagine a terror group going out and getting American hostages and saying, hey, you want these hostages back? Give us Tsarnaev. Michael, was that a legitimate concern if capital punishment was not imposed?
That or a cult surrounding him. Look at Manson still has fan letters written to him. End him and move on. I respect Ellis Henican's religious convictions. I share his religious convictions, and it's often a quandary in death penalty cases for me too. But the liberality part I'm confused with. We have an administration that throws drones left, right, and center all over the place and commits death penalty sentencing on people where there hasn't even been a trial, just enough evidence compiled in a context where we decide they need to die, we need to end them. I don't know that I disagree with a lot of these occasions, but the way it's done and with the rapidity which it's done, I have a great problem with that.
Gentlemen, there is another story. Well, go ahead, Ellis, if you'd like to respond.
No, it's a great point. If you don't mind me taking a second to pick up on it. Well, here's the coalition I like to make among the three of us. I mean, you guys are more conservative than I am, but we're all skeptical of the state, right? I mean, do you really trust the federal government, who we spend hours a day on Newsmax trashing? Do we really appreciate their ability to make these decisions in a just and appropriate and a fair way? God, how many cases have we had to reverse off of death row in the last few years? In Illinois, especially, if you don't mind me mentioning that.
Well, obviously,
and a Republican governor too.
That's right, and obviously people changed their minds about that in the land of Lincoln. With reference to this case and the whole notion of a crime as opposed to an act of terror, an act of war, we could continue to argue it. But there is something else that has garnered some attention today, and I'd like to get your input on it, and that is what is going on with Good Morning American anchor George Stephanopoulos of ABC News. He apologized to viewers today after it was revealed he donated about $75,000 to the Clinton Foundation over the past 2 years. Now, George says he will no longer moderate a Republican presidential debate in February for ABC. Is that enough, Michael Flanagan?
I don't know. Geraldo Rivera observed today, I think I read, that he got canned from ABC for making a $200 donation, so perhaps not enough. I didn't do it. Oh, you caught me. Okay, I did do it, but I'm sorry now, please, and I'll give up some small thing, and we'll all forget about it and move on. It seems to be a very Clintonian take on this. Thank you, George. Moving on.
What about it, Ellis?
I'm against capital punishment for George Stephanopoulos.
Well, we can all agree on that.
It's dumb to do. It is dumb to do in this.
We can
climate.
agree.
Now,
We
these
can
countries
agree.
To go back. these contributions go back a couple of years, so I mean, it's not the post-Brian Williams era that he actually did it. I don't know. It's probably dumb to do. It's money to a foundation, by the way, who's doing good works in the world, undeniably good works in the world. You know, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I didn't give him any money, but, you know, an apology and move on is probably
Well, the big
enough.
thing was, and when I'm interviewing people where we've had some sort of past arrangement, I say for purposes of full disclosure, you should know going in thus and so. And the primary criticism of George was in the interview with the author of Clinton Cash, Peter Schweitzer. He did not say, oh, by the way, I've donated to the foundation, and that was the major problem there. Gentlemen, for purposes of full disclosure, please understand how much I appreciate your contributions to Newsmax Prime tonight. Ellis Henican from Newsmax New York and Michael Patrick Flanagan from Newsmax Washington. Gentlemen, thanks to you both. And our program continues right after this.